Good morning. How are we doing today? Awesome. Hey, my name's Jeff. I'm one of the pastors here. It's such a privilege to share with you today. We're wrapping up a 4-week series called Restless today, and about being restless. And we're really talking about how we pursue so many of these things of the world that cause us to become discontent, cause us to be restless. And today I have the privilege of speaking to you today about how we can become restful. And so as we get into this, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been so tired, like you could just lay down on the floor right now and go to sleep, but you weren't able to sleep? But it's not just about being tired, I think. Sometimes we are so just exhausted with life. That's why we look at this and we go, man, I can't believe I'm getting choked up over a robot, but it's because we can relate to this robot. Our calendars are out of control. Our to-do lists are never ending. The demands on us are unrelenting. The kids have to eat. Again, we just ate yesterday. Why do we have to keep up with the eating? Day after day after day after day after day. And in our story, which is found in Genesis, the first book of the Bible, God just gets done creating humans on day 6 of creation. And then we pick it up here, Genesis chapter 2, verses 2 and 3. It says, by the 7th day, God had finished the work he had been doing, so on the 7th day, he rested from all of his work. Then God blessed the 7th day, and he made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating that he had done. What I want you to understand, and this is the first point in the app, is that the culmination of creation is not human beings. It's rest. Rest. God rested on the last day, but here's the thing. It was the first day for Adam and Eve. Our week doesn't end with rest. It starts with rest. You can even look at your calendar. Sunday is the first day of the week in most calendars. Our week doesn't end with rest. It starts with rest. But God's intention is that we would work from our rest. But God's created design is not just that we would get periodic rest, but that we would be at rest. God's created design is not just that we would get periodic rest, but that we would be at rest. And in Matthew 11:28, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy burdened, and I will give you rest. But here's the rub in our fast-paced, out-of-control lives. Jesus says, come to me. And we say, just 1 minute, Jesus. Jesus says, come to me. And we're like, Jesus says, come to me. And we're like, what do you have for me in your hand? And then we come, maybe somewhat reluctantly. And then we're with Jesus and we're like, can I go now? I got shiny objects to chase. That finding rest is more than just coming to Jesus. It requires staying with Jesus. Anyone can just come to Jesus, but it's the staying with Jesus that's really important if you want to find rest. The invitation that Jesus gives, come to me, it's an invitation to come back to the garden. Come back to your created design. Come back into relationship with your heavenly Father and be at rest. These people were weary and worn out from having to walk everywhere, every day in the desert heat. They were weary and worn out from having to spend hours every day just trying to find water and take it back so they could survive. They were weary and worn out from every day having to start a fire just to cook a meal. They were weary and worn out by the sorrow of an infant mortality rate that was around 50%, historians believe. Can you imagine? And a life expectancy rate of or age of 35 years old. And on top of all that, they're living under the constant fear and threat of Roman rule and occupation. And then you add on top of that these religious laws and rules that were man-made that these leaders had put on top. And you can see Jesus' compassion/anger at this. This rest can't be gotten. It can only be given to us by Jesus. Here's our main point. Jesus invites us to come to him restless and become restful. I've never felt that way. Why? Because like the robot, I'm frenetically trying to contain the pieces of my hurried life so that I can get some rest instead of be at rest with Jesus. And I just had to get to this point where I realized that I can't keep pursuing this chase, that I can't keep up this pace. I can't keep trying to save face. I can't stay in this place. I must learn to live in the space of his grace if I'm going to have any chance of winning this race. The first one is to get yoked to Jesus. So verse 29, Matthew chapter 11. Jesus says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So, in order to put on Jesus' yoke, we have to take off these other yokes. And the reason why we can't find the elusive rest that Jesus promises us is because we're trying to fit his yoke on top of all of these other yokes that we're wearing. But Jesus is a one-yoke man. That sounded better in my head than it came out, but I hope it means something. Second thing is to get schooled by Jesus. Get schooled by Jesus. He says, "Come to me and learn from me, for I am gentle and I am humble at heart."